So good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you to Raya and Mordechai Meltz. This week, we have a very interesting topic. It's Parsha's Teruma. And Parsha's Teruma is special because it talks about the Mishkan. The Mishkan is basically the first temple. It was a temporary temple. It was a temple that lasted us throughout the 40 years when we traveled through the desert, and until the times of King David and King Solomon. King David with the planning of the first temple, and King Solomon with actually building the first temple. The place where Hashem rested was the Mishkan. So although it was temporary, but it was still very special and very unique, this idea of the Mishkan. And our shir today, we are going to be discussing this very topic of the Mishkan, the importance of the Mishkan, the idea of the Mishkan, why is it so important having it, the details in Judaism. Why are the details so important when we come to talk about Yiddishkeit? So it's interesting. I would like to start with a question that the Alter Rebbe asks in Tanya. The Alter Rebbe asks in Tanya a very important and a very interesting question. The Alter Rebbe says, well, we know that Hashem is all over the world. Hashem exists no matter where, right? Hashem is here, Hashem is there, Hashem is everywhere. So if Hashem is truly everywhere, why do we need a specific place where we say that that is where he rests? What is the idea behind that? So in the previous generations, there was a big argument between the Hasidim and the Misnagdim, whether we can actually say that Hashem is literally everywhere. It wasn't that simple to say that Hashem is everywhere. There are certain places that aren't respectful towards Hashem, so would we say that Hashem is there too? Hasidus tells us a very important idea in our belief in Hashem, in God. Hasidus teaches us that Hashem is literally everywhere, but in certain places he is hidden. So the question is, if he is truly everywhere, why do we need Beis Hamikdash? Why do we need a Mishkan? So the Alter Rebbe in Tanya brings an interesting example. The Alter Rebbe in Tanya says that we all know we have a soul. The soul is the power of our body. The soul is the source that gives us energy to live. Our neshama is the essence of life. But nevertheless, the neshama belongs specifically or specifically rests in the brain. Hamoach shebarosh, that is what the Alter Rebbe calls it. Because we know how delicate the brain is, how important the brain is. Chas v'shalom, today, if someone, even what science knows about the brain is very limited compared to the rest of the body. Today, Baruch Hashem, medicine is so advanced and we can cure lots and lots of things if it has to do with hands, legs, etc., etc. Even the heart, the doctors know so much about the heart today. But about the brain, we are very limited. Because the brain is so unique, so special. That's where the neshama rests. And that's why we don't know everything about the brain. And that's the importance of the brain. So here the Alter Rebbe is bringing an example. He's bringing a mashal to tell us that look at the human body. The human body, the neshama is expressed in the entire body, which means when we can move our hands, it means the neshama is in our hands. And that's why we could actually move it. That's why we have chayut in it. We have the essence of life in that as well. But nevertheless, the neshama has a special place where it reveals itself, and that is in the brain. Likewise, the Alter Rebbe says, is with Hashem resting in this world. We know that Hashem exists everywhere, but nevertheless, there's a certain place where Hashem reveals himself, which means Hashem exists in every spot in the world, but we can't see him. In the words of the Alter Rebbe, Hashem is there, behe'elem, which means he's hiding there. You can't see him there, he's there, but you can't notice him. When we come to Beis HaMikdash, that is a place where Hashem feels comfortable enough to reveal himself. How do we know that? So there's a very interesting Mishnah that tells us that there were 10 miracles in Beis HaMikdash. These 10 miracles represent that Hashem actually reveals himself there, right? Because we know that Hashem is unlimited, and for him, the limits of nature don't really exist. Therefore, he can do miracles. That is the reason why he can do miracles. And when we come to Beis HaMikdash, we see something very interesting, that there the limits of nature did not really exist. So, for example, the place, specifically the space of Beis HaMikdash, was big enough to contain thousands and thousands of Jews. And when they used to stand up, it was tzafuf, omdim tzfufim, which means it was very crowded. Umishtachavim, when they came to bow down towards Hashem, there was a lot of space. Mishtachavim ravachim, that is one of the miracles that the Mishnah tells us about the Mishkan. So here we see this idea of Hashem revealing himself in the world. And it's not that he does not exist in other places in the world, he just reveals himself specifically here. So here we've got a very interesting story about one of the Hasidim of the Tzemach Tzedek. One of the Hasidim of the Tzemach Tzedek wanted to make Aliyah to Eretz Yisrael. Today, we are fortunate that we have the opportunity to do it, and it's pretty much easy. It's not too easy, as we all know, but compared to previous generations, it's much easier. So this Chassid of the Tzemach Tzedek came to the Tzemach Tzedek, and he told him, I want to make Aliyah, I want to go to Eretz Yisrael. So the Tzemach Tzedek replied to him, he told him the following. He told him that you should make yourself an Eretz Yisrael here, or in the words of the Tzemach Tzedek, Mach do Eretz Yisrael. You should create your own private Eretz Yisrael exactly where you are. And the Tzemach Tzedek said that Rabbi Hillel, who was one of the biggest Hasidim, he is in Eretz Yisrael, which means literally he might be in Russia, but he created an environment of Eretz Yisrael around him. So here we see, and this is a very famous expression that Hasidim use all the time about changing your environment. Chasid yotzer sviva. A Chassid creates his environment. Mach do Eretz Yisrael. Create your own Eretz Yisrael wherever you are. So once again, the Rebbe points out that here we see that we could actually be in Chutz La'aretz, but it's still considered Eretz Yisrael. So why do we need a specific Eretz Yisrael? Why do we need a specific Beis HaMikdash? Why do we need to go down to these details? And here we come to another question. A question about our davening every single day. Where do we daven to? Where do we place ourselves? So we know it's important to place ourselves towards Beis HaMikdash. That is the direction we daven to. Beis Kodesh HaKadoshim. But why? Does it matter to Hashem where exactly I am praying to? Tefillah is all about my heart. Prayer is all about being there at that moment, asking Hashem, connecting to Hashem. And why is it so important to go down to details and to say, well, you've got to face Beis HaMikdash? So here, I would like to share with you an interesting story about a person that asked the rabbi a question. He sent him an email. He asked him a question similar to what we asked. The question is that he wrote in the email, and he told him, why do I need to wait 6 hours after eating meat till I can eat milk? Why do I need to put on tefillin in this specific way? Why do I need to eat matzah? What is so important about it? Why can't I just eat a pita or something else? Does Hashem really care about whether I wait 6 hours, 5 hours, 3 hours? What does it matter to him? Right? So he didn't receive an answer. He wrote this question and didn't receive an answer. He was very upset, very disappointed. He waited a week, he waited 2 weeks, but there was no answer. So he wrote to the rabbi again. And he wrote to the rabbi. He told the rabbi, the story is that the rabbi basically received another email from this person. And this person told the rabbi, why don't you have an answer for me? If you don't have an answer, you can tell me, well, rabbi, you know what? I don't have an answer. I don't have an answer, and keep it in that way. You don't have to, I can understand. Not all the time you have an answer. So that was the question, the second email that the rabbi received from this person. And listen to the answer. This is an amazing, amazing answer that the rabbi wrote him. So the question was, and it's a very interesting question, once again, why does Hashem care about the small details? Does it matter to him whether I wait 6 hours, 5 hours, 4 hours? What is it about all these small details? So he asked the rabbi in an email, and he did not receive a reply. So he writes once again, and he tells the rabbi, well, if you don't have an answer, then tell me you don't have an answer. That's also an answer. The rabbi told him the follows. The rabbi told him, I answered you. I sent you an email right after your first email. And when I spelled out your email address, I left out the dot. I wrote your name at gmail.com without .com. And that's why you did not receive the email. What does that show us? That the details are very important. And they are very important because in order to send an email and it should arrive to the exact address, we've got to make sure that the dots are in their place as well. And that is the idea behind the mitzvot. This is an amazing example to the importance that we have to have towards our mitzvot and towards the details in the mitzvot. So this is a nice story, but what is the idea behind? The story brings out a certain point, but why is it that Hashem cares about the details? So the truth is that we spoke about it once, defining Hashem. When we want to talk about God, and this is something that we've got to be very careful when we talk about Hashem. So we often say that Hashem is unlimited. Hashem is unlimited. He has no boundaries. He has no limits. And that's why he can do all these miracles, right? The 10 miracles that were in Beis Hamikdash. One of it is, for example, the fact that the smoke, no matter how windy it was, the smoke always went directly up to the sky in a direct way, even though if you would be there in Beis Hamikdash, your hat might have fell off because of the wind, but the smoke kept in the same direction. And this is one of the examples that nature, the limits of nature, didn't really exist there because Hashem revealed himself. And Hashem is unlimited. So that is the first way we could describe Hashem. But this is interesting because Hashem is, if we say that Hashem is unlimited, then we are limiting him that he is unlimited. So we can say that Hashem is so powerful and the limits of nature do not exist by him, but that is saying that Hashem is limited. We are causing him to be limited by being unlimited. That's why we have to come, and the truth is that if we would describe Hashem in such a way that he's unlimited, then right, details would not matter, because if you are unlimited, there are no details. If Hashem was unlimited, he would say, well, it doesn't matter to me if you wait 5 hours, 4 hours. Hours don't exist in my world, because he is unlimited. But the truth is that we cannot define him by being unlimited, because he would be limited. He's limited to being unlimited. So what is the true description of Hashem? And this is very hard to say, because there was once even a chassid that came. He asked his fellow friend, he told him, explain to me the highest level in Hashem, in God. So the chassid started to say a few words, and he gave him a smack, because you cannot say any word about Hashem, you cannot define him in any way. But these are the words of Hasidus, and that's why we are allowed to use the words of Hasidus in order to explain it. So the truth is that the true definition of Hashem is that he is undefined. It's not only that he's unlimited, he's undefined. We don't know what he is. He is not limited, he's not unlimited, he's not even both. He has both powers, but he is undefined. Hashem is undefined. In such a case, details are very important. Because if details would not be important, then we would say, well, Hashem is unlimited. And that's why the details aren't important. It doesn't matter which direction you pray to. He is everywhere. He's unlimited. No, Hashem is undefined, and that's why details do matter. That is why we're supposed to pray to a specific direction. That's why Hashem rests in a specific place. Hashem does not rest equally in the entire world. He reveals himself in a specific place because he is undefined. He's not only unlimited. So this is a very deep idea that Hasidus brings out. And this can explain to us a bit about the connection that we should have to Hashem. The importance of the details in our lives, and the fact that Beis HaMikdash was a place where Hashem revealed himself in an undefined way, which means that we do care about the details, about the place, about the specific place. I would like to share with you another story about one chassid that he was at the beginning, he did not learn as much. He did not explore Chassidut as much, but he was very rich. He was very rich, and he lived in a town of Chassidim. Once they told him, you know what, you are in the town here, and there's a big rabbi over here. Why don't you come from time to time, hear a bit of his ideas, hear a bit of his thoughts, a bit of the Divrei Chassidus? So he said, you know what, I'm prepared to come. I'm prepared to come. And he goes there to the Admor, and he sits, and he's inspired so much. It's amazing Divrei Torah, amazing ideas. And what happens is that slowly but surely he becomes a big scholar himself. He becomes very wise, very smart, learning from this Rebbe, from this big Admor. And as he became wise and smart in the Chochmah of the Torah, what happened is that he started to lose his money. He started to, he lost his business that he was doing. And he came over to the Admor and he said, you know what, listen, I'm coming here, I'm learning Divrei Torah here. I am connecting to the Kadosh Baruch Hu in a very high way. Why is it that I get such a punishment that I start losing my money? So that Admor told him a very interesting answer. That Admor told him as follows. He told him that there's an expression in the Gemara that if someone wants to become wise, he should move to the south. And if someone wants to become rich, he should move to the north. So the Rebbe told him, listen, see, this is the expression of the Gemara. If you want to become wise, you go to the north. If you want to become rich, you go to the south. So in such a case, you can't have both. How could it be? How could you be simultaneously also in the south and also in the north? It doesn't go together. It's or you're in the south or you're in the north. So you can choose. You want to become rich, go back to the south. You want to become wise, go to the north, but you can't become together. You can't have both together. But then the Admor told him the following answer. The Admor told him that if you become a bit spiritual and you become a bit, you don't need a specific place. You don't feel that I need my seat. I need my title. Then you are able to be simultaneously in the north and the south because there's something spiritual has no place. So the more spiritual you become, the more you can be rich and wise together. And this was the hint from the Admor. He told him he must work on becoming humble, because the way we become spiritual and we don't take up a physical place is when we become humble and we're prepared to give our place to someone else. We aren't so fussy about where we're seated in shul or what is the exact title that people refer to us. So this is the idea behind becoming spiritual and behind taking up a space, right? So if we are more spiritual, then we don't take up as much place, and then we can have the benefit of both worlds, also wisdom and also the world of richness. So to summarize basically this idea, because here we come to a very important point, and we spoke about it in a few words of Machda Eretz Yisrael, right? Hashem wants us at the end of the day to create an Eretz Yisrael wherever we are. It could be even people that are already in Eretz Yisrael. They've still got to create the environment, the spiritual environment of Eretz Yisrael. And that is the words of the Tzemach Tzedek, Machda Eretz Yisrael. The reason to that is because we had certain times throughout the Jewish history, right? We started off with the Mishkan, which was a temporary temple. And that's why the miracles there weren't the same as the miracles in Beis HaMikdash. Then we went to the permanent temple, the greatest of all, the first temple. The first temple contained many more miracles and many more holy vessels, such as the Aron HaBrit, right? With the Luchot that we just read about. The Luchot were also there in Aron HaBrit. And the Luchot, what they basically were, are the Luchot, the tablets from Matan Torah. In the second temple, they were not there anymore. And after the second temple, when the second temple was ruined, we don't have no place to say that Hashem rests there specifically. So we see that we started low, then we went higher, then we went down, and now we are in a galut, in an exile, where we have no specific place. This is where we need to work on v'asu li mikdash v'shachanti b'tocham. We should create a temple in ourselves. It doesn't say that Hashem uses the expression of pearl, which means I will rest in b'tocham, in a few of them. What is the meaning of a few of them? B'tocham, in a lot of them actually. Hashem will rest in the Mishkan or in a lot of the many Mishkans. So the truth is that each and every one of us can create a Mishkan in our homes, in our bodies, in our own lives, around our own friends, in our environment that we create. That is the meaning of Asul Limikdash, specifically in the times of the Galut. Specifically now, when there is no Bet Mikdash. That is the reason to the expression of the Torah, that the Torah says, V'asul Limikdash v'shachanti b'tocham. So to summarize what we've learned today is that basically we wanted to understand why the details are so important. Why is it so important to pray to a certain direction? How come we say that Hashem rests in a specific place? Is he in a specific place in Beis HaMikdash, or is he in the entire world? We learned about the fact that Hashem is undefined. He's not unlimited. He's undefined, and therefore details do matter to him. If he was unlimited, details would not make a difference. But because he is undefined, details do matter. And we learned about the timeline in the Jewish history and the idea of Hashem resting in certain places throughout this timeline. So, for example, we started off in the Mishkan. Hashem was there, but it was a temporary Mishkan. Beis HaMikdash, the first temple, was amazing until our days, where we do not know, or there is no specific place that Hashem rests in. We need to create that place ourselves. It's up to us. And there are two ways. It's not enough just doing mitzvot. Doing mitzvot is great, but Hashem wants to feel comfortable entering your home. Your home means the way you eat, the way you sleep, the way you do business. All those natural things have to involve Hashem inside them in order for him to feel comfortable. So this is basically the idea that we learned today. And once again, thank you very much to Raya and Mordechai. And I'm looking forward to seeing you all, Be'ezrat Hashem, next week, Sunday, here at 9 o'clock, 9:30. Shavua Tov.